Good night, welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information of the day. At this time, members of the Rice Hill community burst into the classroom of the First Baptist School, where the Creole classes announced by the departmental administration are being taught. In this way, the natives protest against this training that they consider goes against the effect that the ruling of the Administrative Court of the Archipelago should have. This ruling adds the Creole language test for government officials, and with this community hopes that instead of teaching Creole, job opportunities will be open for the natives.
This is just the first. Come out and unite. A time for people united and we land, man. Eh? And we don't make you know, we will end up in Infotep too. We will not to go stop it. Emelino, we will stop that Infotep too. We will stop it.
And the departmental government and officials of the Ministry of Housing meet today with the community leaders of District 4 to discuss the progress of the pluvial sewage paving project of Carrera 13.
At around 9 in the morning, the work table began between the Housing Ministry, community leaders, and the departmental government headed by the Infrastructure Secretariat, where they analyzed the progress and current status of the construction projects, sewage storm, and paving of Carrera 13.
The conclusions of today is that there is an issue of the storm drainage system that the community was totally unaware of, and that at this moment they have made clear to us the issue of this process, which is not as we had initially understood it, but that it is a project that would really be getting the work underway by March 31st of 2023 with an estimated duration of 2 years. This would be delivered in 2025. It is really sad how long we are going to have to wait for it. Let's hope that it is not more than this. Unfortunately, the community will have to continue with the uncertainty of the floods and all these problems that have been occurring. But we already have clarity on the issue, which is what gives us peace of mind, because now we are going to have something specific, and we as leaders are going to follow up on it.
After the meeting, the president of Asojunta states that today she has the necessary information to transmit the progress and current status of the Storm Sewer project and the definitive intervention of Carrera 13.
This morning we had a working session of a technical workshop related to the projects of Carrera 13 and the Fluvial project, with the participation of Findeter, the Ministry of Housing, the Secretary of Infrastructure, along with Luis Viloria and Asojuntas, following up on the commitments that had already been made. Today's result has been positive because we were able to encourage the right communication required to identify the status of the projects, what is needed to start the execution, what stages are being planned for this execution, and something very important, we were able to identify the status of the project. Today, it is important to highlight that the departmental government is managing through the resources of royalties the resources needed for the entire project.
For his part, the head of the Infrastructure Office, Alfredo Escalona, indicated that they are currently in the process of acquiring lots that are needed to continue according to the schedule with the work of the Storm Sewer project that is already underway. We are in the process of acquiring lots for storm sewage, and we are advancing the paving process for it. We are working jointly with the Housing Ministry, and this can be done completely with quality for the community, thus putting an end to the suffering of these people for more than 30 years.
The latest report issued by the AM warns of the probability of the formation of a tropical wave in the Caribbean Sea.
Hoy nos encontramos en Río Hacha, en La Guajira.
Today we are in Río Hacha, in La Guajira, in the monitoring of the tropical wave that at this time of the afternoon already has a probability of 80% to reach a higher level of probability in the last hours.
The forecast indicates that regardless of the development of the system, it is likely to affect the northeastern part of Colombia with heavy precipitation and wind gusts over the course of the next 2 days or 3. The most recent projection indicates that the probability of cyclonic formation is 80% within 48 hours and 90% for the next 5 days, and will move west-northwest across the eastern and central Caribbean Sea.
Recomendación muy especial al Sistema Nacional de...
Very special recommendation to the Risk and Disaster Management System and to you, the community, to take the necessary measures since very heavy rains accompanied by thunderstorms, increased wave height and wind strength are expected. Wind gusts are not discarded in some sectors of the Caribbean region, not only in the continental area but also in the maritime zone.
IDIAM forecasts an increase in cloudiness and rainfall from Thursday afternoon and evening, especially in the Caribbean region. The same for tomorrow, Friday. Cloudiness is expected to increase in a large part of the center and north of the country. IDIAM continues to monitor the ocean and atmospheric conditions, and based on the analysis of the forecast models and the evolution of low pressure, the Institute will be communicating to the community and National Disaster Risk Management System about the change in conditions or a possible impact on the Colombian territory through special official communiques, messages in the media and social networks, and continuous information 24 hours a day, 7 days of the week.
In the coming days, the departmental government will carry out a day of health and recreation for all pets on the island.
As part of the World Day Against Rabies celebrated on September 28th, the Health Secretariat will conduct on October 1st a free vaccination day against rabies in pets, as well as a series of recreational activities for canines and felines, including contests and prizes.
Pero queremos llevar a cabo una actividad especial.
We want to commemorate a special date and we want the whole community to participate, so we will do it on Saturday, October 1st. We are inviting pet owners to take them to a celebration where there will be a contest for the pets. What we will be doing at this time is a vaccination campaign, so if your pet is missing its rabies immunization schedule, you can come to the vaccination center to have the vaccine updated. We will be there from 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Morgan's Cannon. We invite you to bring your beautiful pets with their costume, and there will be several prizes. There will also be other entities that will offer their services, and the idea is that the community become aware of the importance of responsible pet ownership.
For people who come to vaccinate their pets, they must be in good condition and not present cough or lack of appetite, among other things.
And according to the Secretary of Public Utilities, the Jose Antonio Nariño Foundation will be the operator in charge of continuing the work that has been going on at the shelter in order to watch over the lives of the animals that have no home on the islands.
After the big controversy over the state of the animals that live in the departmental shelter, the contract for the operation for the so-called municipal pond was signed. Likewise, in order to comply with the work to be carried out at the departmental animal shelter, the main authorities of the archipelago met to consolidate the project that will start the operation of the animal refuge on the island.
El día de hoy se firma el inicio del contrato.
The contract for the operation of the departmental animal shelter was signed today. We emphasize to the community that we continue with our permanent campaign for responsible ownership, since there is a lot of abandonment by people who have left dogs outside the shelter. This is something we reject, and we have been working with the environmental police to initiate a series of fines.
The Jose Antonio Nariño Foundation, headed by Adolfo Artela Villar, will be in charge of the operation of the departmental animal shelter. In this regard, Artela Villar indicated which actions will be developed as operator of the shelter.
El día de hoy, 22 de septiembre.
Today we signed the initiation agreement contract for the operation of the departmental shelter. It is a contract that will allow us to develop action for the protection and care of the canine, feline, and equine animals that are in the shelter, as well as to conduct all kinds of sterilization campaigns, rabies vaccination, and emergency animal care only for abandoned, mistreated, and/or vulnerable animals.
According to the public service portfolio, the work team will be formed by 100% island personnel, where it is expected to develop a joint work with the community for the welfare of animals of the islands. They also call for responsible pet and equine ownership, avoiding their abandonment and preventing the reproduction of puppies through sterilization.
Other news: after visiting 2 airports in the Dominican Republic, officials of the Chamber of Commerce in San Andres arrived on the island with good references. The idea of the visit was to make an analysis of how these airports are managing and be able to apply valuable strategies for the island's airport.
In order to strengthen the adoption of good practices in science, technology, and innovation, officials of the San Andres Chamber of Commerce made a reference trip to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, to learn how the airports are managed in order to seek solutions to the problems that afflict us at the Gustavo Rojas Pinilla Airport in San Andres. According to the business director of the Chamber of Commerce, John Manuel, the visit began with meetings with the Punta Cana Group, which is a business conglomerate that manages the main airport of Punta Cana. The meetings and visits were extremely profitable, according to the Chamber of Commerce attendees, and one of the main conclusions was that passenger satisfaction must be sought.
There was talk about the possibility of making adaptations and improving the equipment, including making recommendations to get several devices. In the same way, we visited the Aroton Group, an Italian business group that manages 3 of the 6 airports in the Dominican Republic. They made a series of recommendations regarding the fact that we should not necessarily incur in higher costs to improve the management of the airport, but rather change the policy at the moment, especially in San Andres, where there is no negotiation of any kind.
One of the recommendations was also that a time and movement study should be carried out to speed up the departure of passengers. According to Manuel, their standard is 12 minutes maximum for the departure of passengers from the time they exit the plane to the time they leave the airport.
And the Ministry of Culture carried out on the island the socialization of the call for the National Consultation Program 2023.
For all creators and cultural managers of the department, an invitation is extended to the opening of the call of the National Program of Consultation 2023 of the Ministry of Culture, which seeks to support, enhance, and highlight the initiatives that promote cultural knowledge in the territory.
Ayer tuvimos un espacio de socialización de la convocatoria.
Yesterday we had a space for the socialization of the National Call for Proposals, where the idea was to tell the cultural sector of San Andres the change for the call for the year 2023. In this case also to see the guidelines and competence of the new government. There are significant change. For example, in order to have better access to the community, a revision of the study and the form of the requirement was made to make it much more affordable. So the requirements are no more minimal, and that is a big difference from previous years, since this is call that has already been in the sector for several years.
This call will focus on 4 axes, with the aim of generating a greater participation of transversal populations and with the aim of centering the arts and cultures as a central being value of the construction of a channel for peace. They are training, arts, cultures, and knowledge for life, development, and strengthening for cultural expressions, artistic or cultural heritage projects, artistic, cultural, and heritage projects that contribute to the construction and consolidation of peace, and finally, circulation of the arts, cultures, and heritage.
Sí. La invitación igual es pues como al sector.
The invitation is to the cultural sector, to the foundations, institutions eligible to apply. In fact, we talk with the people and they say that the churches that represent a cultural aspect can also register. We also talk in the front of the lines of the minister to carry out the development plan in the cultural field that are access such as the peace and cultural diversity that are related to the line of education and art for life.
The registration form will be available until October 10th through the link concertacion.mincultura.gov.co. The Ministry of Culture seeks to generate greater participation and opportunities for all, as well as to exalt and distinguish the diverse voices with the population inclusion of all the communities.
Our Teleislas regional channel will be part of a new proposal that seeks to exalt the country's tourist diversity through a journey you can enjoy from your homes.
The regional channel Teleislas joins the first docu-reality on sustainable tourism in which the 8 regional public TV channels participate: TRO, Telepacifico, Telecaribe, Teleantioquia, Capital, Telecafé, Teleislas, and Canal 13. Each episode will be a meeting of regions in a representative place of tourism in Colombia.
Ruta Colombia is a co-production of the different regional channels in the country, in which we will choose ambassadors to go to different regions and have an important and interesting experience. In that sense, in Teleislas, we will have the opportunity to choose 5 ambassadors. So the invitation is for you to take your digital device now and go to www.canal13.co/Ruta Colombia/registro and form part of it.
Those interested may register until October 5th, answering 5 questions about the motivations they have to travel in a video of maximum 2 minutes and filling out the form at www.rutaporcolombia.com.
And now it's time for sport news with Victor Fosalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the island. Despite their first loss in the game last night against Titanes, Caribbean Storm made some adjustments to face Titanes again tonight in their second game. With a well-focused Titanes team, good offensive execution and offensive adjustments, the Titanes defeated the Caribbean Storm, giving them a taste of defeat on their debut night. A great night for Soren De Luque of Titanes with 22 points, 10 rebounds and 1 assist, supported by Puerto Rican guard Jonathan Rodriguez with 20 points and 8 rebounds. The best for Caribbean Storm was Luis Almanza, scoring 15 points, 7 rebounds and 2 assists. In their debut, the Islanders team showed a lack of offensive connection and adjustment in their mid-range shots, as well as in their defense, where they will need to make more tactical adjustments in order to improve collectively. These were the words of Luis Almanza.
I think that when you are on a court, you always try to give your best. And this is the beginning of the tournament, as the coach said, with very little preparation time against a team that in the eyes of everyone is an organization that prepares much earlier than the other teams. But that is not a factor to say that you can't go out to battle in the best way. We have to adjust a little bit more on the defensive side, and that is what we have been training for this time, and I know we are going to have the best Caribbean for a while. We have been working since June, but in the right side base. I think that the incorporation of the foreigners and myself was a very short time, and even though it is the meshing of each pillar and each piece is important, and the team has to be structured at a high level, and Ivan knows very well that each piece that is incorporated is one more movement, and it is a situation that arises for each of the players that have already been working.
And for Titanes, coach Tomas Diaz.
We have always looked for the group to continue growing defensively. I think we are performing well. There are some corrections to be made with the inside game that we are going to face, but otherwise the team was diligent offensively with the ball. I have nothing but congratulations for the guys.
The Islanders fans expect better adjustment for the Caribbean Storm team for what is coming up in the Colombian Professional Basketball W Play League. A good level of football presents the Amistad Tournament at the Maracanas. A tournament that brings together a large number of players and fans who come to enjoy a pleasant time on the fields of the Maracana. One of the entertaining and high-level matches was the one between Boca Juniors team and La Familia Football Club. La Familia Football Club won the match to ratify the second place in the standings of the Veterans Tournament.
Un partido reñido de buen fútbol, bastante. A close game of good soccer, quite close with good fun. One comes here to have fun with his family. The game was given to us and we were awarded the goals. They were not in a good afternoon, but they have a good team. We were very effective, and thank God things were given to us. At the moment, we are second in the tournament. I don't know how Optident would have been if Optident won or tried. We would be up first. This is a place of good expression, of good tranquility. You come to enjoy with the family. Pure veteran. The important thing is to have a good time.
Tournament that will continue its course, delighting not only the players but also the families and fans who come to the Maracana, as stated by Rafael Moreno. And this will be all in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. With Sport News, we reach to the end of this broadcast. We see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more Teleislas News. Good night.